Well, thank you, Gail, and thank you, everyone. I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is this, that I've spoken with the Police Commissioner, and after a lot of you have seen the whirling dervishes, if you are caught swerving on the highway, I'm told by the Police Commissioner that that will not be an excuse. Please drive safely. There are a number of people we've got to thank. Would you please thank our MC, who's done a marvellous job tonight. Not to be outdone, would you please thank the staff here at Parliament House, who always do such an excellent job. What is little known tonight is in thanking our co-hosts. You've been tonight the recipients of the Abrahamic faith, because tonight your co-hosts have represented the three religions. Abdul from the Muslim community, Grace from the Christian community, and of course Steve, the Shadow Minister, is also from the Jewish community. I don't think we've had that before, so it's a record. Congratulate them all. To Bishop Browning, I say thank you, as I do to the Imam, for his excellent presentation. I would say this, however, that what Bishop Browning reminded of is this: in the world today there are things that are uplifting, and in recent weeks there are things that have caused the gravest of despairs. To the Police Commissioner and to his fellow officers, you have been in the gravest of despairs in the last couple of weeks. You've seen a young officer, a family man, cut down in the service of his duty to this state. And I think as a community tonight, we'd want to pass on to you, Police Commissioner, our thanks to all the serving officers for the excellent job they do. And I hope that you would take tonight inspiration that there is a community from across faiths who share their admiration for the job that you all do for us. So I wouldn't like you to leave tonight without us knowing that we think of that officer, but think of you. I have said before that we are blessed in this state. We have a wonderful police service. We have a wonderful police service when the Police Commissioner brings his wife to an Iftar dinner as a date. We are blessed in that I think in this state the reconciliation we have right across the community is unlike in any other state. I will say this, that in recent weeks we have been in despair too, when we've seen what has happened in Manchester, when we've seen what has happened in London, when we saw what had happened in Victoria. We cannot get around it, that the people who do those sorts of things do that in the name, as they see it, of a religion. So tonight I want to thank the Muslim community here who work with our police service in making sure that those people who are marginalised, that those people who are destructive, as they see it, in the name of religion, work with our police service to make our community safe. So I thank each and every one of you who are involved in that task, and I inspire you tonight to continue that so that in the name of religion we can build peace and harmony. That is my hope for you tonight. Do not let these events weaken your faith, weaken the bond that you have with one another, because you have a police service who stands right with you and who has excellent leadership. So thank our Police Commissioner and his officers. I want to also thank the award winners tonight for the outstanding work they do in our community. To both of you, we are richer as a community for the sacrifices you make with your families, because it's not done without that support from your partners. So thank you to those award winners, and I'm pleased tonight that we could recognise that. Again, thank you for your efforts. I hope those of you for whom it is your first time in Archbishop Aspinall, I'm delighted that you could be here. If I may break a confidence, you and I had a discussion some time ago and said that it would be wonderful if you could come along. You've graced us with your presence tonight. I'm pleased that so many of your congregation are here. I hope that you take away from this that there is another side to our community, perhaps that you weren't familiar with. I thank you for being with us, and thank your community for being with us. The Queensland Parliament, we take it for granted. We take it for granted that the politicians are here, they've run off to be in Parliament. We take it that we've got an independent police service. We take it for granted that we've got an independent judiciary. But if I could be hopelessly political for a moment, I'm also very conscious that this night, for some of you who have relatives in Turkey, that those relatives have been incarcerated for nothing more than their belief in the Hizmet movement, incarcerated for nothing more than they have been teachers, incarcerated for nothing more than they stood up to argue against the government. We take it for granted that we can do those things, and I hope we'll always be able to do the things like stand up and tell the government when it's wrong, stand up and tell our parliamentarians when they're wrong. Stand up also and say, this is the religion I have and this is what I believe. But I'm very conscious that for some of you who have relatives in Turkey who are in those positions where they have been incarcerated for their beliefs, that tonight we're thinking of them, that we can build a bridge to those people. It's as political as I want to get, but I think it strengthens the fact that we have this great function here at the Parliament House, the Parliament for everyone, not just for some of us. And finally, those of you who don't understand that for any argument in Parliament House, there's always two sides. Let me finish by this story. There's an horrific road accident. A fellow is driving along and is hit by a truck. He's injured. He gets over his injuries and he decides that he'll sue the truck driver who's hit him. The case is in court. The attorney for the truck driver says, well, isn't it true that you told the police officer that you'd never felt better? The fellow says, yes, I did. It looks for the world as if the case is closed. But the attorney for the fellow who's injured says, would you mind telling the court the circumstances where you said you'd never felt better? And he said this. He said, look, I can't remember exactly the accident, but when I woke up, I could hear my dear horse in pain, screaming out in agony. The police arrived, they looked at the horse and they shot the horse dead. I became aware of my poor dog, which had come out of the back of the truck and was screaming in agony, and the police officer went up and shot the dog dead. He then came up to me and said, well, how do you feel? Ladies and gentlemen, always remember that in this Parliament there are two sides. As you go about your life tonight, thank you so much for coming. God bless you all.